Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. You know, Jack Benny took his vaudeville experience to radio in 1932 and was a huge success. In fact, it would be 18 years of radio before Jack reluctantly put his show in front of the camera. And as for television, Jack really didn't need to make a splash with such a popular radio show. Instead, he slowly waded into the TV pool, sensing that the camera might be some sort of man-eating monster ready to devour his career from overexposure. Well, after 11 long years of slowly but surely transitioning from radio to TV, the Jack Benny program became a staple of weekly television on CBS. And it turned out the camera wasn't the monster Jack had feared. Instead, it was his devoted audience that devoured his comedic gestures, his classic double takes, and his impeccable timing. Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. Carl Reiner helped forge the genre known as the TV sitcom, and his creation, The Dick Van Dyke Show, became the gold standard. When asked what he felt was one of his funniest episodes, it was titled It May Look Like a Walnut. As a matter of fact, it's ranked number 15 out of TV Guide's 100 greatest episodes of all time. In the style of The Twilight Zone, Rob and Laura are watching a scary sci-fi film before bed. She's terrified, and Rob mischievously rubs it in.
Hello there.
He then dreams that evil walnuts have been brought to Earth by an alien played by Danny Thomas to steal everybody's identity and their thumbs. Thinking he's being pranked and then just dreaming, he can't wake up. It culminates with him opening a closet door and out pours thousands of... And then, as if normal, Laura comes pouring out too. Reiner said the audience laughed for what seemed like forever. And this was just one example of the comedic genius of Carl Reiner. Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. The Phil Silvers Show ran from 1955 to 59, and Car 54 Where Are You from 1961 to 63. So what did these two shows have in common? Well, there was actor-comedian Joe E. Ross, who played Sergeant Ritzik on The Silvers Show, and then he played Officer Tootie on Car 54. The same actress, Beatrice Pons, played Ross's loudmouth, domineering wife on both shows. Joe also kept his trademark catchphrase, "Oh, oh," on both shows, although a bit more sparingly on Car 54. Reportedly, this bit came from Ross being unsure of his lines when Silvers would throw him a curveball in the script by ad-libbing. Of course, Ross's co-star on Car 54 was the legendary Fred Gwynne. And Fred just so happened to make his television debut on The Phil Silvers Show. So what or who was responsible for these clear connections? That would be the director, writer, and producer, Nat Hiken. He amassed 4 of his 8 Emmys for his efforts on these 2 classic TV shows. Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. Even though the production company was called Desilu, it could have just as easily have been called Oppen Desilu. Oppen, as in Jules Oppenheimer, had some powerful comedic credentials. He had established himself in the 1930s and 40s, writing for some of the most popular radio stars and their shows. Eventually, he was asked to write for a comedy starring Lucille Ball called My Favorite Husband. And once Jess got his hands on it, it became a huge hit. Lucy was clearly the star, but she called Oppenheimer the brains. So when CBS approached her about developing her own comedy TV show, she insisted that Jess Oppenheimer and her husband, Desi Arnaz, be included. And then Oppenheimer created the entire premise of the show, right down to the title, I Love Lucy. And in 1951, the show went into full production with Jess Oppenheimer as producer and head writer. They also enlisted their former co-writers from My Favorite Husband, Madeline Davis and Bob Carroll Jr. And this team went on to write the first 4 seasons of the classic show. And what they created, along with the talented power couple, is regarded as one of the greatest, if not the greatest, TV shows ever. Lucy later claimed that she owed much to the friendship, creativity, and true genius of Jess Oppenheimer. Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. What's the secret word? Groucho! You Bet Your Life was a radio show in the 40s, and then it made the jump to television in 1950, where it ran for 11 seasons. And during its run, Groucho had some of the most classic moments in television history. He would lure the contestant into saying something slightly racy, and the audience would come unglued. Then all he had to do was smile, turn towards the audience, and smoke his cigar. But more often than not, he had a hilarious comeback. The comedic value aside, it was a real game show, and people won real money. And now for a bit of spooky trivia. One contestant who won the $10,000 jackpot was named William Peter Blatty. He was an author, and he told Groucho he'd use his winnings to take some time off to work on his novel. And what novel was it? The Exorcist. And here's a little bit more trivia. They actually pay homage to Groucho by mentioning his name in the movie, but I prefer to think of him more in the comedic way. Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. Do you know that one of the first TV shows to be filmed in Hollywood was I Love Lucy? The show ran from 1951 to 1957, utilizing Jackie Gleason's 3-camera shoot technique. It was a remake of Lucy's radio show, My Favorite Husband. When they brought it to TV, Lucy was able to suggest that they use her real-life husband, Desi Arnaz. And Desi turned out to be quite the TV innovator as well. He created the art of the rerun. But the initial reason for doing it was because Lucy was pregnant and he wanted to give her some rest. And the CBS censors wouldn't let Lucy say pregnant on the show. Instead, she had to say expecting. It's also said the budget was pretty low for guest stars, so how did they get the likes of William Holden, John Wayne, Bob Hope, Orson Welles, and even Harpo Marx? Answer is apparently they all loved the show and were very good friends with the power couple. And the fact remains that after 60 years, many fans still love Lucy. Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. Did you know that Carl Reiner used to go to the cast of the Dick Van Dyke Show and ask them if they had anything funny or odd going on in their lives? He would then take that material and go write the scripts for the show. Thus, it was based on a true story. But the names were changed to protect the innocent. And speaking of innocent, did you know Mary Tyler Moore lied her way on the show by telling the producers she was 19 when she was only 17? Even Dick Van Dyke thought she kind of seemed young to play his wife. But in fact, the two blended so well as husband and wife, the TV viewers actually thought they were married. And although they admitted to having crushes on each other at one point or other, what developed was more of a brother and sister relationship that lasted ever since.